I think we came into the season with a little bit of the unknown.
I don't like using the word underdog, but that's kind of the word that we were, placed in last year.
It's difficult to win, and it's difficult to make playoffs now. Last year it took 87 points to even get in. So, I think when you go into this season, your first goal is to get into the playoffs. And I think when you coach and play in Hershey, that's what you got to know and realize, that getting into the playoffs is first and foremost very important.
The goal is to win the Calder Cup every season.
I think coming into training camp last year, I think we knew we had a really good team.
We had 7 rookies, and we didn't know what we really had.
We had a lot of young guys last year.
We had 7 guys turning pro, and then 9 players under the age of 21. So, it was a work in progress.
And each individual just came to the rink and wanted to get better.
Last year I was the older guy and got looked towards as more of a leader and a guy that could help those young guys kind of find themselves as players.
I think the coaching staff did a great job in helping all of us young guys out, and I know the older veterans definitely made us feel welcome and at home.
Had the ultimate expectations. We had a lot of young, skilled, talented guys that were coming in, and I think we had the perfect kind of veterans, for those guys to feed off of.
Right after training camp, we came together as a team. We kind of gelled.
From the first game, you can tell we had a team full of gamers and a great bunch of guys.
We didn't get off to a hot start, but I think that was huge. We faced adversity early in the season, and we came together as a team, and we had our ups and downs.
We ran into some injury problems.
It was mentally tough to lose 3 months of the season, but sometimes things happen and you're going to live with it.
We brought in Scott Gomez.
The acquisition of Gomez and definitely the play of Walker, and I think the play of our team at that time was probably the best we were playing all year, I think, and it was fun to watch and fun to be a part of.
There was one point we were down to 10 healthy forwards.
It was certainly tough for me to make that decision to get surgery, but at the end of the day, I feel bigger and stronger this year.
December, January, when we realized we had something special.
I always knew that we had the older guys and the young guys in the skill, and then we started to put it together and we started to play our system.
We played Toronto there during the season, and we were able to beat them in Toronto, and that's kind of where we realized we're like, hey, we got a pretty good team here.
We really started hitting our stride, and that's when I think people started to realize that we got a pretty good team in that locker room.
Everybody kind of had a feeling that this was a special team and it was a special group.
It made us all feel like we have the confidence and in our game and ourselves that we could beat anyone in the league. And I think from at that point on, I think we definitely didn't look back.
As a team, we came together and individually had lots of confidence.
We stuck with it, and we brought that into playoffs, and we faced adversity the first round in playoffs.
I think after game 1 in Portland, we realized we were going to have to play a much tighter brand of hockey and play better defensively.
If you look back on it, we could have been out in the first round, and to be able to come back and win back-to-back games, and then even the clinching game in Game 5 there, it was that was the first taste of it, and it just kind of gave us a boost going forward. And then obviously the war that we had with Wilkes, that was, you still talk about it, it was insane. It's exactly what it was, is war.
It was really you could honestly say it was really a war out there. That whole series was amazing.
Playing Wilkes-Barre, that's been, the most brutal and toughest series that I know I've ever played in.
Playoffs, everybody, picks it up a gear and bears down a little harder, and it's the funnest time of year to play.
Well, I think anytime you go into Game 7, whether you're a player or coach, it's nerve-wracking from the time it's going to happen right up until the end.
Game 7 is always a little special, but you can't really put too much in your head. You're gonna play with a clear head, and I think that's what we did.
Game 7 is what any player lives for.
We did have a 2-0 lead in that game as well, and when they tied it up 2-2 with about 8 minutes left in the game, you're thinking maybe it's not meant to be.
Liam O'Brien went over and cycled it down the wall to me, and I was able to beat my check.
I wouldn't say I did the hard work, but Travis definitely made a beautiful play there.
Walked the puck out from behind the net to in front, and went top right, far side, and saw it go in, and obviously had a pretty fun celebration after that.
It was crazy. I was just trying to get on the ice and congratulate the guys, and Nesser was all over me, so it's kind of holding me back a little bit there for a bit.
Really good for us to kick out our rivalry Wilkes-Barre, and especially with the way we did it.
Just to beat them and just how much work really went into that series. I think, you know, it was probably, you know, top 3 best feelings for me in my hockey career.
That was my first Game 7 I've ever been in, and that was, you know, it's probably going to be definitely in the memory for a very, very long time.
Those are the games that you know, on the backyard rink that you kind of say, oh, Game 7, you know, overtime, you know, to move on to the next round, and to be a part of that and to see the fans' reaction, it was special.
Got that overtime goal by Travis Boyd to win the series at home, and I think that really gave us a confidence boost going into Toronto.
Then that Toronto series, it was, I mean, you're playing against that offense, how high firing they are. It was pretty cool to be able to take care of them in 5 games.
You know, I kind of felt that winning the conference final against Toronto was almost our Calder Cup, and that was no disrespect to Cleveland coming in here.
Obviously the finals, that was my first experience in the Calder Cup finals, and there's some regret there.
You know, I was, you know, not overly thrilled with how I performed last year in the playoffs, but got a little bit snake bitten.
To make it that far and then, you know, to not win, it's obviously very tough.
We ran into a real hot team there at the end, but, you know, hopefully we all can learn from that.
We really wanted to go all the way and bring the Calder Cup to Hershey, but
You know, being so close and losing to Lake Erie like that definitely wasn't fun.
Definitely left a bad taste in your mouth. Yeah, we can't wait to get back to that situation so you can, you know, put a better effort forth.
We're like a family in there, and I think anytime you have a group like that, a group of brothers and a band of brothers, you could say, it goes a long way. And I know for us, we're just really excited to get this going.
Hopefully do what we couldn't really finish last year as winning the Calder Cup.
So close to winning it last year, I think, you know, it just makes you want to win it even more this year and drives you that a little extra more.
I think everybody in this room knows that we can do it, and to set any other goal but that would be I think shorthanded for us.
Stick to the game plan and stick to our philosophy of going week to week over a 28-week season, and all we got to do is win as many weeks as we can, and when you do that, come April, you should be in great shape for the playoffs.
As a team, it should be nothing short of another Calder Cup.
Keep working and keep getting better. I think we've got a great shot at it.
You know, going there last year, I think it just makes me hungrier and the guys hungrier to get that thing back to Hershey.
You know, if there's a team that can do it, I think that this is the one.